So you think your internet at home is incredibly fast, but your PlayStation Portal is stuttering, lagging, and dropping resolution. If you finally get a quiet moment to game, but your screen keeps turning into a muddy, pixelated mess, trust me, you're not alone. You have probably worked all day, the kids are finally asleep, somebody else is using the main TV, and you just want to sit down and enjoy a solid hour of gaming. You paid good money for this device, specifically for this exact scenario, and it is incredibly frustrating when the performance just isn't there. I've had the Portal since day one, and that is why I have spent hours testing every single setting on this device so you don't have to. Today, I am going to walk you through the absolute best, simple tweaks to drastically improve your Portal's performance. There's no IT degree required here for this and no complicated networking jargon, just easy, actionable settings that will get your games running buttery smooth. We are going to get your setup optimized perfectly, and we are going to start with a brand new display toggle that you need to check out right now. First up, let's talk about image clarity. So you know you've got a great internet set up at home, your router is in a good spot, but your gaming sessions still don't look as sharp as they should be. Well, you need to use the new 1080p high quality mode. You'll find this toggle right under the quick menu under max resolution. This is available for everyone, whether you are using remote play or cloud gaming. It doesn't matter if you're playing a massive open world game installed directly on your hard drive at home or streaming a classic title from the PlayStation Plus catalog. This setting will force the device to prioritize the absolute cleanest image possible by upping the bitrate, which just basically means more data gets sent to the device so it's a cleaner, crisper image. A quick heads up though, you'll have to restart your gaming session each time you change this setting. For remote play, it's really no big deal at all because your console stays on in the background at home. You just reconnect right after it's changed and you'll pick up, where you left off. But for cloud streaming, toggling this will, drop your active session and relaunch the game. There's nothing worse than losing an hour of progress because you decided to tweak a setting mid-level. So make sure you save your game first if it has not auto-saved. It also is really nice that the Portal remembers your settings separately for these modes. Setting remote play to 1080p high quality won't automatically switch your cloud gaming sessions over. This is actually really useful. It means you can keep peak 1080p quality turned on when you're sitting on your couch at home with your amazing Wi-Fi, but you can use a lower, much more stable setting when you are traveling and relying on something like a sketchy hotel internet connection and you're maybe playing your games via the cloud. Now let's look at the foundation of your setup here for remote play. You need to connect your PS5 via an Ethernet cable straight to your modem or router. Honestly, it is actually the only tip I absolutely swear by, and I have done this for ages and it made a massive difference for me. Even if you have really good internet like I do, I highly recommend you do this because it makes the connection way faster and so much more stable. Your Portal's performance lives and dies based entirely on how strong the console's connection is to the network. Think about it like this: if your PS5 is on Wi-Fi and your Portal is obviously on Wi-Fi, you're forcing your router to constantly bounce massive amounts of wireless data back and forth between the two devices at the exact same time. It is a recipe for network congestion, which is a disaster for playing on the Portal. If your PS5 is far away from your modem, consider buying, a really long Ethernet cable if you can to run it along the wall or under the carpet. It will make a huge difference. If that isn't possible, look into getting like a power line adapter, as it basically uses the electrical wiring in your walls to send a wired connection to your PS5. It's not ideal, but it is better than nothing. Or honestly, just consider moving the PS5 closer to your router if it is at all possible. It is just seriously that important, particularly for remote play. But here's the part no one tells you. Just plugging in the cable to your PS5 isn't enough. your PS5 might still secretly switch back to Wi-Fi in the background, especially if it's the same network name. The PS5 is a smart console, and sometimes if it detects a tiny drop in the wired connection, it'll panic and it'll fall back to the Wi-Fi network, which might have a stronger signal and it's saved in its memory. That causes a big lag spike on your Portal, so go into your PS5 network settings and completely forget your Wi-Fi network. That forces your console to stay locked on Ethernet forever. It sounds like such a small thing, but the difference is massive. Fewer drops, better image quality, and much smoother gameplay, which is exactly what we're after. Next, check your Portal is actually connected to your router's 5 GHz Wi-Fi, not the 2.4 GHz one. 5 GHz bands are stronger in signal but weaker in reach, while 2.4 GHz is far reaching but not quite as strong. Think of the 2.4 band like a crowded city street. It goes far, but it's packed with traffic from, your smart TVs, your phones, your smart bulbs, your mobile phones, whatever it is, and maybe even, your neighbours' devices as well in the way. The 5 GHz band is like a fast open highway. Switching to 5 GHz gives you better speeds, lower latency, and way less interference. This is especially crucial if you live in a busy home. If someone else is in the house streaming, a 4K movie on Netflix, or your kids are downloading, massive game updates upstairs, your Portal is going to struggle if it's fighting for space on that 2.4 GHz crowded street. Getting onto the 5 GHz highway avoids all that traffic. You could actually go as far as just having only your Portal on that band, which would make it even smoother. But that is a bit extreme because you probably do want other devices still also using the 5 GHz band. So that is a last resort. You could just split it off to be only for your Portal. I don't recommend that, but it is an option. If both your Wi-Fi bands have the exact same name, your Portal is probably getting confused and bouncing between them, which causes some stuttering. You will need to log into your router settings and split them temporarily, or label the 5 GHz one clearly so you know exactly what you're connecting to. Just remember that 5 GHz hates thick walls and floors, so try to play in the same room as your router if you can. And if you're still getting hiccups after doing all of this, consider upgrading to a Wi-Fi mesh system. I've got a Wi-Fi 6 mesh system, and it made a huge difference in my own setup. Having dedicated access points around the house means your Portal always has like a perfect line of sight to a strong signal, no matter what room you're in. And it really helps with like black spots about your house where it seems like there's no signal. With all these access points all over the place, you are sorted to play your Portal anywhere. So a lot of people are just relying on the modem or router they got from their internet service provider, and that's all they've got in their house. And they're probably not the best. Usually it's cheap stuff they send out there, as part of your subscription package. Upgrade your network, people. Get a better router, modem, and then you can take it a step further with a mesh network if you wish. I'll leave links down below to the stuff I've bought, and I recommend. I got a Asus Wi-Fi 6 gaming modem, yes, router, whatever it is, and I used that first, and then I expanded onto mesh network, and it's just made a big difference for real people. It's way better than the stuff that your network provider gives you as part of your subscription. Now, because the Portal screen maxes out at 1080p, you should always choose the performance or frame rate focused mode in your actual game settings when the game allows this. They look better on the Portal from a visual perspective, but they also help out on a technical level. Taking full advantage of the Portal's 60 Hz refresh rate screen makes the games look much smoother, and it helps reduce any input lag you might feel. When you are playing something fast-paced, that input latency is the difference between, nailing a perfect parry or taking a hit. There is no point in choosing 4K fidelity mode when the Portal screen physically can't display these extra pixels when you're, playing games from remote play from your PS5 to your Portal. You're just wasting bandwidth for no extra reason. Also, jump into the game's visual settings and turn off motion blur and film grain. These effects might look incredibly cinematic on a massive 4K OLED television in your living room, but on the portal screen, they just make things look muddy. Disabling them gives you a much cleaner, sharper image and stops the screen from looking like a bit of a pixelated mess, especially when your network is working hard to stream the game straight into your hands on the portal. Now let's talk about when you're away from home with the portal. You might be taking it on vacation and connecting via a dedicated 5G hotspot or using your mobile phone as a wireless hotspot or hotel Wi-Fi, which can be kind of hit or miss. You should consider port forwarding, especially if you've had problems previously when taking your portal away. We all want that dream of playing, our PS5 from a coffee shop during a lunch break at work or from a hotel room on vacation, but public Wi-Fi can be incredibly restrictive and often blocks the exact signals a portal needs to wake up your console at home. Now, port forwarding is slightly more technical, so I do recommend you Google your make and model of your router or modem to figure out how to do this. It's quite straightforward though, but basically it tunes your home network specifically for your portal by opening more doors on your internet connection. You will have to access your router settings to do this, and since every single router is completely different, as I say, you just need to Google how to port forward for your individual router model, but it is a totally legitimate method. Even Sony's official website has specific ports they recommend opening for the absolute best remote play experience when you're outside your house. It takes about 5 minutes to set up, and it can be the difference between connecting perfectly from a hotel and staring at a blank portal screen. Work your way down this list and your dad station should be running so much smoother. And now that it is working so much better after you've done all these tweaks, make sure you check out the best games to play on your portal by checking out this video on screen now, and I'll see you over there.